Today is a Saturday matinee. We're going to be getting into Tombstone. I'm excited. Kurt Russell is one of my favorite actors. I think he's Joey's favorite actor of all time. And Tombstone is a classic movie. So without further ado, let us do it.
The Natural Habitat Podcast. The Natural Habitat Podcast. The Natural Habitat Podcast.
You know what? Everything looks gorgeous, Joey. The sound is amazing.
Well, let's kick this shit box.
All right, let's go in. Let's get into character. You ready?
Woosa.
Ha, Civilin. Ha. All right. Howdy there, partners. My name's Mikey Booyah.
My name's Unknown.
And we're here at the Natural Habitat Podcast. We're talking about the greatest movie ever made. And that movie is, tell them what it is, Joey.
Tombstone.
That's damn right. Tombstone. What do you want on your tombstone? I'll tell you what I want on my tombstone. Kurt Russell. I want Kurt Russell on it. Just a face of Kurt Russell. And some pepperoni, maybe. All right, I'm going to break character now. I'm done with that.
Yeah.
I probably could have done it.
If you couldn't tell,
I could have done it the whole show.
This is Saturday matinee. We're starting things off right with an old classic favorite of ours, Tombstone.
Yep. If your first sign that today is Saturday matinee is that you woke up today and it's Saturday, or it's late Friday night and a podcast was just released. Second guess is the description of the podcast and the title, which says Saturday matinee, Tombstone. And your third hint would be when Joey just told you what it was. So if you don't know where you are by now, you should probably take your meds and get yourself checked out.
Yeah, and don't be bothered by our terrible acting.
Yeah, we both tried out for roles in Tombstone at the young ages of I want to say we were maybe
About 93, so.
7 and 9, something like that. So
yeah, something like
that. We both tried out. We did not get the parts, as you can see. We don't have any credit in the film. We did these accents that we just did at the beginning of the show. They didn't work. I think after a few years of working on it, I think they're getting better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're
no Kurt Russell, but
no,
we tried.
We tried to try out for that new Quentin Tarantino movie, The Hateful Eight, but we got the screening mixed up and we ended up at the new Justin Bieber documentary. So we're in that. If you look really hard, we're in there somewhere.
Be on the lookout.
Mm-hmm. So Tombstone is probably the best Western. I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's the best Western ever made.
Of our generation.
Best Western. And, like The Hotel, best Western. And
yeah, I mean, like, we can't say best Western ever because the original spaghetti Westerns and the John Waynes and, like, all the old school things are in a league of their own. You know what I mean? Like, those movies have significance in time and history and everything. Those are, like, the original throwbacks, right?
Yeah.
And then our generation comes along and tries to do our best attempt, and we actually had a couple classics, and Tombstone was one of them. I mean, I have countless memories of watching this movie as a kid when it came out, and immediately running outside to go play like we were in the movie.
Right.
You know what I mean? And me and my little brother and my cousin and his little brother would all pick characters, and we lived like out in the country, so we were close to like a riverbed and other things, and we would just immediately go and pick who we were going to pretend to be, and we would be out there just playing it out, you know what I mean, like reliving scenes from the movies and such. And it was such a good time and such a inspirational movie. It really, like, it's different than most Westerns, the way that it tried to portray like some of their real lives. So you got to see like more than just a fairy fairy tale or like a story or like a you know what I mean, a legend. It's actually like they were real people, and you got to see like emotion, and you got to see like how they had families, and how they were like, you know, normal people too, to an extent, and like the kind of things that they had to go through, and it just made them feel so much more real, you know. So it was like, it was cool for us. We all had our favorites, right? Like each one of us liked different attributes from different characters, like how
Doc Holliday was my favorite.
Yeah, me too. And he was such a cocky shit, and he was so good with the pistols, and it was like, and you just immediately gravitated towards that. And then like Kurt Russell was the more serious, like crazy character who fucking just ran shit. And then you know, you had other ones like Curly Bill or Ringo. You know, those were favorite ones too. Like Curly Bill was the fucking ringleader, and Ringo was the fucking badass. Like he was like the anti-hero, like fucking the opposite of Doc Holliday or whatnot. So it was just really cool, man. It gave you so much to work from towards like imagination, or to like, it made you really feel like you could have lived in those times. You know, it made you want to go back and live in those times. Honestly, like I really felt like, man, it always made me wonder like what it would have been like to live in those times. You know what I mean? Like how cool would it have been to like live in a time where fucking you handle your disputes in the streets with a fucking shootout, and like, you know what I mean? And you would just get drunk and be drinking liquor ever since a kid, and like you could be an outlaw and rob trains and like do crazy things and not have like the cause and effects like you have now. You know what I mean? Like nowadays you think like, oh, if I rob a fucking train, I'm going to jail. But back then, if you thought you were robbing a train, you were like, oh, I gotta protect myself and feed my family, or I'm gonna rob this train and then I'm gonna get the hell out of Dodge and I'm gonna go, like, you know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna bury the treasure somewhere. And
you
like,
leave town for a week and you're
adventure.
fine. You leave town for a week and everything's good. And
they just forget about it.
Yeah, it was no big deal. And also back in this time, if you killed somebody and you were wanted for murder and you crossed the state line, you were gravy. Like they wouldn't come and get you. They wouldn't arrest you there. You could start a whole new life, and you could, you know, do your whole thing there. You just weren't allowed in this state anymore because you killed somebody. And, you know, that would have been a crazy time to live in. And fucking, you know, Wyatt Earp and Doc Holliday and all these characters were, you know, very real people and parts of American history that, you know, people probably wouldn't know as much about if they didn't make such movies as Tombstone. And what was it? It was Kevin Costner was talking about making, it was supposed to be him in Tombstone. What was that you were just talking about? And then they had a dispute.
Yeah, so it says in 2006, True West magazine did an interview with Kurt Russell, and it said that Kevin Jarre or whatever his name is, and Kevin Costner were going to make the movie together, but disagreed over its focus. Costner felt that the emphasis should be on Wyatt Earp and decided to make his own movie. So Kurt Russell made an agreement with the executive producer and made Tombstone with the budget of $25 million, and I think ended up being the better movie. Yeah. Also, Russell wanted to cast William Dafoe as Doc Holliday, but Disney wouldn't let him do it because of his controversial role that he played in The Last Temptation of Christ. So that was you know, who knows what the movie would have been like with William Dafoe as fucking Wyatt Earp, or I mean as Doc Holliday. You know, like that would have been a completely different character. I don't think it would have been as good. I think Val Kilmer is the only person that should have played that part. He has it etched in my mind as forever playing probably the best Doc Holliday ever. You know, it's like he just gave that character a different meaning than anything before that. So I feel like and the fact that of how many A-list actors were in this movie was a trip too.
Yeah, they definitely, you know, like they didn't pull any punches with the cast. It's like fucking Bill, not Bill Pullman, but Bill Paxton. I always get him mixed up.
Yeah. Kurt Russell, Val Kilmer, Sam Elliott, Bill Paxton, Powers Booth, Charleston Heston, Jason Priestley, Stephen Lang, Robert Mitchum, who, you know what's crazy about him is he was supposed to play this part and got into like an accident, like fell off a horse or something. He was supposed to play like somebody. I can't remember which part he was supposed to play, but he was supposed to play a part in here, and then got into an accident or something, and couldn't play it anymore. So they made him as the narrator instead.
Crazy.
And they like cut his whole character out. But yeah, it says he was originally set to play Newman Haynes Clanton, but he suffered a horse riding accident which left him unable to work. And then he ultimately narrated the film, and his part was written out of the script.
Man, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So I remember going to Tombstone when I was a kid, when I was really young. I don't remember a lot. I think it was even before I saw the movie. And I know that the actual town of Tombstone is super pimp, and I was reading about it. I found out that it was founded by a prospector, Ed Shefflin, in 1877. And this dude was like, he was staying at like this popular fort in Arizona, and he would go up to the hills and like mine, like prospect for silver. And he was going to a place where nobody else was going because he had some feeling that there was silver out there. And everybody used to like make fun of him and shit. And they told him that the only stone that he would find out in that desert would be his tombstone, that he was just going to die out there. So one day he finds a giant hunk of silver and uses it to start a town out there, and he calls the town Tombstone after this douchebag that put him down. And the surrounding town was called the Graveyard, and their newspaper was called the Epitaph, and it was all based on death, like you said, probably to scare people away, to make people not want to go move out there.
Yeah,
but no matter,
I mean that makes perfect sense when you're out there prospecting and you're looking for gold or silver. What's the first thing that makes sense? You don't want to tell anybody that it exists, right?
Yeah,
you want to
exactly.
make up stories. You want to fucking divert people away, because then all of a sudden people start to come claim jumping and start to make claims right next to yours and like try to fucking steal your shine or steal your whatever you got.
Yeah, and no matter how scary he made it, the town ended up blowing up and had all kinds of fucking saloons and hotels and shit. They had 24-hour saloons. All these places from the movie, the Oriental, the Crystal Palace, the Eagle, the Alhambra, are all for real. And they sold pony whiskey, brandy, 6-year-old Kentucky apple brandy, gin rum, port, English ale, Scotch, Miller's Extra, and 26 different imported wines. So they had a huge selection of drinks and not just watered down whiskey like a lot of people thought. And then I also found a clip from the Epitaph, which was their newspaper, and it's talking about the Can restaurant that served Chinese as well as American food. And this is a little clip describing, like, advertising their restaurant. It goes, "Game is wild as a tornado. Chicken is tender as a maiden's heart. Ice cream is delicious as a day in June. Dessert that would charm the soul of a South Sea Islander, and smiles as bright as the morning sun will be found at the Can today." It's beautiful.
Damn.
Yeah, I want to eat there.
Yeah, me too. Now
I'll take the maiden's heart on a bed of a day in June, please.
Oh yeah, look it up, motherfucker.
Mm-hmm. That sounds bomb. And then the hotels that they had by 1881. It's when they got electricity and hot and cold running water in their hotels. So the nice hotels would have walnut furniture, carpet to match, spring mattress, toilet stands and fixtures of the most approved pattern. So it was fancy shit. The walls were papered, and each room had windows. So this was all huge shit. Usually they would just put you in a basement with a dirt floor and charge you a donkey, and you would sleep there.
Yeah, I mean, and that's another reason why this movie caught your attention as much as it did, is because it allows you to place yourself in a different time, right? It's like a time machine in the movie. It's like the 2-hour allotted time that you have to watch this movie allows you in that time to really set yourself in that setting. It allows you to place yourself in another time and era where things were completely different. You know what I mean? Like you can't help but imagine what it would be like if you were in their shoes, or if you were in their place, or if you were going through some of those same things. And I'll tell you what, that would have been a crazy time to live. You know what I mean? It's like, it would have been a different world. you would have been in charge of your own destiny. It's not like today where everything is pre-designed for you. You know what I'm saying? Like nowadays, you have to fit into a box to be a productive part of society. Everybody fits in the same thing. You go to school, then you get a job, you buy a house and buy cars, you get married and have children, you fucking live in this box, right? You do the same things. Well, back then, your destiny was who knows. You don't even know if you had a destiny. You don't even know if you had an expiration date. You know what I mean? Like you were born into it. You could have died as a kid from a sickness that there was no medicine for. Yep. You could die as an adult from poor hygiene and not live to like hygiene is the single-handed thing that's responsible for the reason why we live 100 years now. Back then, your maximum life expectancy was 50 years because you would end up getting sick or something would happen to you and you would never live to be as old as you. You know what I'm saying? Like we've doubled the life expectancy of humans just from hygiene alone. So it's like it was a crazy different time, man. You never know what kind of shit could have happened. And besides all that, it's like it was just a rougher like more fend for yourself type of scenario, you know? Like back then things were so spread, like widespread out, like it would take you days just to get to the next town. Yeah. Even, you know what I mean? And there was nothing was in a hurry. Like everything took a long time. You know what I mean? It didn't matter what it was, whether it was traveling or whether it was building a house or whatever it was, fucking getting somewhere with a horse and fucking buggy. Could you imagine? You know what I'm saying? Like I couldn't even think of what it would be like to go from fucking one town to the next, to travel 10 miles. How long would it take to walk 10 miles? You know what I mean?
Fuck. Let's see. When I was in high school, I was a fat kid, and I would.
It'd take 100 minutes probably.
Yeah, I'd walk a mile in like fucking. It was like 12 or 15 minutes.
Yeah, so 100 minutes a mile, every 10 miles. It'd take an hour and a half to get fucking 10 miles. Hey, it'd be like living in LA. For real, I mean, seriously, it takes like that long to get anywhere here, so I guess it wouldn't be too different.
Yeah, man, it's a crazy time, and I mean to think that 130 years isn't that long ago when this was all happening, and
yeah, it's such a trip, man. Such a trip to see, like, in the last 100 years, how much shit has progressed.
Imagine what it's going to be like in 150
Billy the Kid
years.
was running around shooting people, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
50 years from now, we're going to have people with flying cars everywhere just fucking dipping. We're going to have floating fucking cities, and we're going to have fucking, you know, maybe not 50, maybe in 100 years from now we'll have that shit.
Well, they have, but did you see that floating city that they have that's fucking designed after a manta ray? Yeah,
I saw that. I meant in the air, though, but yeah, it's still the same thing. It's still the same thing.
Well, you said floating, so I don't know.
Yeah.
But
still a floating city.
Yep, that shit was crazy. So, fucking, in 150 years, they're going to be talking about us and all the crazy shit that we did out here in the Wild West. And
they're going to be like those god dang natural habitat folks, man. They were onto some shit back in the day.
We're called habitations.
Yeah, hashtag that. See if you can spell that out.
Yep, good luck. So I think that it's about time that we get into this NHP smoke sesh.
Perfect timing.
Mm-hmm. So everybody out there,
are you ready for this epicness?
Everybody out there, get ready. Get your shit packed up, because we are going to smoke together.
Taking a trip, traveling back in time with this theme music right now. Get ready.
Oh. That is an epic movie score.
Yeah, man.
That lets
It
you
makes
know.
me want to rap, actually. It makes me want to make a beat out of that shit.
Right? It probably wouldn't be that hard.
No, it does.
It lets you know that some real shit's about to go down when you hear that score.
Yeah. Yeah, so I actually put it on and watched it last night this time.
Yeah?
Finally got with the program.
We flipped it.
And
Because I did not watch it last night.
yeah,
We'll never be
you're not supposed to
100%
tell.
professional around here. So if you guys are
giving away our secrets.
if you guys listen to us because you go, wow, they barely make it through every podcast. It's like if I did a podcast, this is what I would sound like. Don't worry, because we're never gonna get better. If anything, we'll get a little bit worse and then get back to here later on.
Yep. Hey, but at least we provide entertainment.
God, that's right. What do you provide besides shit in your toilet? That's mean. I'm sorry. You provide a lot. You provide plays for us. Which in turn,
So I'm gonna get into a clip. I'm gonna play a clip now.
you got okay. Well, lay it on us, and then I will. I will visualize it in my head, and then at the end, I will tell you what everyone's wearing.
All right, cool.
God damn it, Junior, how many times am I going to have to tell you to keep that damn cigar out of my face? Huh? Christ almighty, it's like I'm sitting here playing cards with my brother's
Billy
kids or
Bob
something.
Thornton. We didn't even
Another
mention
bragging
him.
Sons of bitches.
Right?
Or Micah Rooker, or fucking Billy Zane.
Something on your mind?
Just want to let you know you're sitting in my chair.
Is that a fact?
Yeah, that's a fact.
Well, for a man that don't go heels, you run your mouth kind of reckless, don't you?
No need to go heel to get the bulge on a double like you.
Is that a fact?
That's a fact.
I'm real scared.
Damn right you're scared. I can see that in your eyes.
All right, then go ahead.
Go ahead, skin it. Skin that smoke wagon and see what happens.
Listen, mister, I'm getting awful tired of your suing.
I'm getting tired of your gas. Now jerk that pistol and go to work. I
Just
said throw
slap
down,
him.
boy.
Slapping him in his face.
You gonna do something or just stand there and bleed? No? I didn't think so.
What a badass, you know what I'm saying? What a fucking badass to like, okay, so you're Wyatt Earp. You just got off the fucking train.
And got a new job.
Just picked up, yeah, just met up with your brothers and shit, who you haven't seen in who knows how long.
Uh-huh.
You and your two brothers and all of your wives are finally in the setting together for the first time ever. You know what I'm saying? And you show up to this new town that you've never been in. You just retired from a long, illustrious career as a fucking peace officer from Kansas who was already a badass.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You show up in this dusty-ass town, and you walk into this fucking casino and slap this dude silly and take 25% of the house take. You know what I'm saying? Like, instantly. You just walk into town. You don't even have a place to live yet, but you got yourself a business over here. You know what I'm saying? And it just fucking blows my mind. Like, that is entrepreneurialism. You know, like, that's real fucking, like, seeing what you want and grabbing that shit.
Damn right.
Nobody does that shit anymore. The only type of people that do that now are the Mark Cubans and the Donald Trumps and the fucking, you know what I mean? The people that actually take risks, you know? And people nowadays, everybody wants to play it safe. Not Wyatt Earp, you know what I'm saying? Wyatt Earp walks up and slaps a motherfucker, you know what I'm saying? And he takes what he wants,
yeah.
you know? And that's that real man shit, you know
That's
what I'm
the
saying?
that's the natural habitat way.
Yeah, that's that alpha shit. We ain't no betas up in here.
So that scene right there had I mean there was extras in it and stuff, but it was pretty much just between Kurt Russell and Billy Bob Thornton, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a couple people sitting at the faro table, and then there was the bartender.
Okay, well I'm not worried
who
about
owns
them.
the place.
Kurt Russell, he's wearing a white button-up shirt with a red and blue kind of flowery with gold trim vest. on over that. He had no. Don't tell me until the end. And then he's wearing his hat, and he has and he also has a watch, like a pocket watch chain sticking out of his vest with a cool little clip. And then Billy Bob Thornton is wearing Nike shorts, and he's wearing a Lakers tank top jersey, as well as a cowboy hat, bandana around his neck, and a pocket watch, which is a safety pin to the jersey. Am I right?
Nope.
God damn it. That was a pretty good visual, though. I think
yeah, that was a great visual, actually.
It would have been good.
I feel it was pretty good, except for you were way off.
Oh, damn it.
This is Billy Bob Thornton was actually wearing a white button-up.
Oh, all right.
With the vest over it.
Damn it.
And the derby hat, the little derby cap, and he was sitting at the table.
Okay.
Blowing,
I had him flipped up.
playing,
and then Kurt Russell's got the
had
Lakers jersey and the Nike shorts.
Nope.
No?
Nope.
What's he got?
He's in his black suit with the black tie.
Oh,
and
damn.
Black hat.
Yeah, he is.
Looking like death.
Look at looking like death. God damn.
Like death.
That's a scary motherfucker.
Yeah, you don't want none of him. He's coming. And hell's coming with him. You know what I'm saying?
Hell yeah. Fucking
Hold on.
He's mine.
Alamar! Hey, Matty! Where's Wyatt? Right behind you, Stillwell.
That music. Cuts him with a spur.
damn.
Badass.
All right, Clanton. You called down the thunder, well, now you got it. See that? It says United States Marshal.
Wyatt, please don't kill me.
Take a good look at him, Mike, because that's how you're going to end up. The Cowboys are finished, you understand me? I see a red sash, I kill a man wearing it. So run, you cur.
Run! Tell all the other curs the law's coming! You tell them I'm coming! And hell's coming with me, you hear? Hell's coming with me!
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Fucking gangster. So
Yeah.
So I want to move away from Wyatt Earp for a minute and go into Doc Holliday, our favorite character from the movie. I found out that that Doc Holliday was I for some reason always thought that his name was Doc, but it turns out that his name was John and that he actually was a doctor. He was a dentist and went to dentistry school and had his own dental practice in Atlanta, Georgia. And his mother died of tuberculosis when he was 15, and it fucked with him. And then he was diagnosed with tuberculosis, and he said that he needed a climate change, so that's why he moved out to Tombstone. And
Which is partly true because when you have back then there wasn't a way to like really treat tuberculosis, you know what I'm saying? You just had to deal with it.
yeah, so you want to go to drier air.
They change the climate and it helps them like acclimate to that type of climate better, and it doesn't like put as much stress on their lungs or whatever.
Yep. So he moved there, and for the most part, he kept his like disease a secret from his friends and everything, and would pretend to not be sick all the way through, the gunfight at the OK Corral, which actually didn't happen at the OK Corral. It happened a few blocks away, and it just got that name for some reason. And he fucking fought through all that shit and then rode with Wyatt Earp and killed a bunch of people. and did that all dying of tuberculosis. And then he started getting too sick, so he left and moved away, and then he moved to like Colorado and then died in Colorado. And it was just like crazy that, you know, he was diagnosed with tuberculosis, a disease that they couldn't cure at the time. You were just going to die. And instead of just laying there in Georgia and dying, he fucking went to Arizona and he made history. Like, this fool he went down in the history books forever. And if he didn't make that move and go do that, he would have just been a dentist that died of tuberculosis and nobody ever would have heard of him. So it's like, it's crazy that he made that jump with little life left. He was like, fuck it. And that's just how it was back in the day, because, you know, just because you had tuberculosis doesn't mean just lay around and wait to die. That's what they tell you now.
It was because it was his friend, though. You know what I'm saying? He was like, he didn't want to let something happen to his friend.
Yeah.
You know?
But it's like, nobody would have blamed him for just staying home, but he didn't do that. And just because he didn't, all of this was done, and he was a huge part of it. So, you know, I think it's dope that almost didn't happen. You know, he almost wasn't in this movie or in this story or in history. And he fucking made it right before the tuberculosis took him like a pimp. And he just fucking fucked shit up.
You ever see anything like that before? Hell, I ain't never even heard of anything like that. Nothing. Where is he?
Down by the creek. Walking on water.
Walking on
Let's hope
water.
he's got another miracle up his sleeve. If I know Ringo, he's headed straight for us. If they were my brothers, I'd want revenge too.
No, make no mistake. It's not revenge he's after. It's a reckoning.
You hear it? The tuberculosis?
Yeah.
It's coughing up a lung.
Val Kilmer really got tuberculosis
Anyway,
for the role.
Wyatt is my friend.
hell, I got lots of friends.
I don't.
Dang.
He did it for his friend.
Yep. Wide open, my friend.
Yeah, he was a badass.
He my
They were all
friend.
badasses. And I mean, like, I think that the time had a lot to do with it, you know, because you had to be badass to succeed, I guess.
Yeah.
But it really, back then, morals were like different, you know. People's morals were like, you had to stand for something, you know. And some of the things that you stood for would be family and friends and honor and loyalty, and those were the things that were your judge of character, what people based how they viewed you on, or like how your legend was going to be based on, you know what I mean? Like Billy the Kid his legend was crazy because of like the things that he did, you know what I mean? And the lengths that he went. And same right here with Doc Holliday and Wyatt Earp, you know what I mean? Like they didn't have to go through any of this stuff, but they did it out of honor and like, you know, loyalty to the people that were hurt.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's different times, man. Different times, they make you different who you are. Like today, who would be our heroes today like that? Like somebody, like, it'd probably be like Edward Snowden. You know what I mean? Like he's probably today's biggest hero, like Robin Hood type character. You know, it's gotta be Ed Snowden.
Yep, I agree. Shout out to you, Ed. He listens. He listened to the podcast.
Hopefully we can get him on one day.
He doesn't have anything else to do. He's just hiding and listening to podcasts.
Translating it from Russian that was translated from English already.
Right? Poor guy.
From English to Russian, back to English in Russian.
Yep. So
I wonder what we sound like with that Russian accent.
I bet when we did the Western voice, that in a Russian accent probably sounds pretty crazy.
So you want to buy a gun?
So yeah, I think that you know, everybody, not surprisingly, not everybody has seen Tombstone. So if you haven't seen Tombstone, or if you're one of those people that watched Wyatt Earp if you had like a Wyatt Earp family that was like, no Tombstone in my house, we watch Wyatt Earp here, then you should probably go out and get yourself some Tombstone and get down on it, because it's a classic, man. And
I mean, if you like movies, you're gonna like Tombstone. It's just a fucking great movie. It doesn't matter if you like westerns or like whatever your specific fucking type of movie. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter what genre. When you have this many good actors in it, you know it's a damn good movie.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
And
there's
it's
10 fucking good actors, 10 A-list actors in this movie. You know what I'm saying? At least, and it's like, it's crazy, man. The story. Every character has a unique story. Every fucking character is nailed by the actor that's playing it. You know what I'm saying? And the score, the movie score that goes along with it is fucking amazing. You know, like movies back then always had these great movie scores that were so epic and would just like change the way you feel while you're watching it. You know, and just like totally controls the mood.
Yep, I agree. And it's that old school. It's the old school like building of America. And I think, you know, those movies are dope. It was when we were in a good time as a country. I got in an argument with this dude on this message board somewhere. I shared the Beta Uprising podcast that we did, and he commented on it, and he was like, "Stop it! Like, how are we gonna stop, you know, all of this? Like, people kill people all the time. Like, people are fucked up, and we're never going to do anything to stop it." And then I was like, yeah, I agree. You know, this kind of shit happens all the time, and we won't stop it, but there's things that we can do as a people, you know, that aren't being done to try to address this. And he was like, no, fucking, you know, people are fucked up, and like, there's nothing you could do about it. Like, everybody's just shitty. And then he was like, America, like, isn't a great place to live anymore, or something like that. And then I said, well, you know, we're Americans. Like, it starts with us, dude. Like, you and me, if we can be positive and fucking interact with each other and, you know, like, be positive towards other people, then that will make a more positive world. And then it, you know, kind of branches out from there. And I was like, I don't know you, but I love you like you're my brother. And, you know, you're in a stoner group, so you got to have, like, an open mind. And then he, like, liked it. And he was like, yeah, that's true. And then I was like, cool, I'm having like a solid back and forth with this dude. And then he's like, all of a sudden, he comes with this big message that's all like, it's because of all the damn Mexicans and the black people coming and stealing our jobs. And I was like, oh, man. And then I had to stop. I cut it off with the guy, you know what I mean?
Stupid.
And it was like, dude, like, come on. After this whole thing that we were just talking about, and then he's just like, it's because all this.
Everywhere.
And he's like, fucking America needs to be like worry about Americans. And it was just like the worst.
Oh,
I had to cut it off. So, you know, this is I'm sure that guy loves Tombstone because it was a great time in America where, and you know, there was the Chinese labor forces that were there, and they were building the railroads. You know, more than half the population of Tombstone was Chinese. So people were working together, and they also were, you know, a thriving country. And I think that is the best time. 1881 is when you want to live in America. Right now, it's just everybody's too butthurt over too much shit, and everything's too media driven. So now's not the time. I think 1881 with laptops and podcast recording equipment would be ideal.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, after living with the internet, I could never, ever, ever want to live in a time where there wasn't internet.
Yeah, because we're not even in the generation. It's the generation after us that grew up with the internet. Ever since they knew how to use a phone, they had a phone in their pocket that's a smartphone that they can access Google with and do whatever the fuck they want. And, you know, they don't know what it's like to not have that. And I think we have a little window of that because our childhoods, we didn't have phones. And then when we did have phones, they could only call. They didn't even have a screen for texting. And then you got one where you could text and play Snake on it. And it was a slow thing. It wasn't just, I mean, like kids today, you're like a 6-year-old kid in first grade. They give you a fucking smartphone and they're like, here, so you could call us and text us if you need to. And they play fucking, you know, Candy Crush on their break and shit. And people are just growing up with technology, which is good and bad.
Right.
I think I definitely can't live without it because I use it every day, constantly.
Yeah. Just I don't know, man. The internet is the great equalizer for the human race.
Yeah.
It connects everybody, and nobody's in control of it. You know, and I think like we're all in control of it, and that's what makes it such a cool thing. But anyways, I got a bunch of stuff pulled up here that's like facts and like mistakes and stuff that were made during the film.
All right.
Do you have some of those as well?
I do.
All right. Well, one says that's pretty obvious now that I think about it. It says when Curly Bill is shooting up the town while drunk, but I don't think he was drunk. I think he was high as fuck on opium. So this site just fucked up.
Yeah,
But when Curly Bill is shooting up the town drunk, he fires about 10 more rounds than his 6-shooter can hold without reloading. He's got 2 guns and he's shooting. He said, and it still has a round remaining when he shoots Marshal Fred White at the end.
Wow. The fuck.
Yeah.
I know that. I found out that it was laudanum is a opium tincture. Laudanum.
Yeah.
Laudanum. Laudanum is an opium tincture that is opium extracted into alcohol that everybody was drinking, like Maddie.
Yeah, which can't be good for you because mixing opiates and alcohol is what kills people.
Yeah, right? And this is opium and alcohol.
Yeah.
That's
Shout
weird.
out to the doctors back then. Fuck, I bet you they were high all the time.
Have you seen Have you seen A Million Ways to Die in the West?
Yeah, I love it.
Fucking all the different. Here, let me just get a blue jay to peck the blood out of your face.
Oh, people die at the fair.
Yep, people die at the fair all the time.
I heard you fart. It went. So funny. That's a good movie too.
Hell yeah, it is. If after you guys watch Tombstone, go watch A Million Ways to Die in the West. It was good too, in a different way. Then there's I read a thing about, I remember Lester Moore, who was a famous, it was one of the famous epitaphs, the most famous epitaph ever written. Here lies Lester Moore, 4 slugs from a 44, no less, no more. And then it's supposed to end, died in 1984, because it ends the rhyme scheme. And, when in the movie, when they come into town, they arrive into town on December 1st, 1879. But Lester Moore didn't die until 84, but his tombstone was there and all inscribed and everything. Maybe he knew how he was going to die, and
yeah, you never know.
He saw it from a fortune teller that came through town, and he was like, getting that tombstone made, getting it done while I got the money. Is that what it was back then?
Probably a tarot card reader or some shit. I don't know. A factual error. In the scene where Virgil returns to the Oriental after being shot, Wyatt and Morgan are sitting at a table eating Chinese noodles with vegetables, among which is broccoli. And broccoli was practically unknown in the United States until it began to be commercially cultivated in California in the 1920s.
Yeah, that sounds about right. You know, they got
busted. They didn't have broccoli, motherfuckers.
You know what this segment is? This segment is like the nerd panel at Comic-Con. Yeah. So like they're like, actually,
first.
Here, look, I'll do this one in the voice. So it'll be like, excuse me, sir, but during the fight at the OK Corral, Doc Holliday empties one of his guns into a man with a blue shirt on, but then the man starts shooting through the window, and Wyatt shouts, "Doc, behind us!" And Doc Holliday immediately empties both of his guns into the building without time to reload. How did that happen?
Yeah.
Yeah. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Actually, on episode 4.
Hey, well, we're not the nerds who came up with this shit. We just found it on the internet. Hashtag internet. Hashtag interwebs.
Hashtag broccoli.
Hashtag internet and hashtag screenager.
Screenager.
Here's another one. in the scene just before the fight at the OK Corral, Wyatt is talking to his brothers and Doc on the porch of the town marshal's office. And there's an American flag flying behind them with 50 stars on it. When back then there was only 38.
Nice.
Yeah. Cool mistakes, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, who the fuck would notice broccoli or even think about that? You know what I mean? Like, it takes a real nerd to find that shit out.
Yeah,
and the flag one, too. Like, 50 stars on the flag. I mean... We didn't live in 1881. We didn't know to look for that shit. You know what I mean? Like, we were just going along with the plot.
And also, in the opening sequence, when Curly Bill and the gang are walking towards the church, you can see a microphone in the corner of the shot.
Nice.
Big old boom mic sticking out.
Ye old boom mic.
Yeah, you know them old boom mics that they had back in the 1800s.
Nice. Cool stuff.
Also,
I have a. Go ahead.
Also, when they first come into town, apparently they arrive into town in 79, and they pass by a bunch of shit like the Tombstone that isn't built until 84, the Birdcage Theater, which wasn't built until 81, and the apartment complex I live in, which wasn't built until like 1960. They go right by all that. So
nice.
What were you gonna say?
I don't know. I'm just kidding. I have a video or a clip with some behind the scenes stuff.
All right, cool. Well, lay it on us, and then we got to get out of here.
How it actually happened. I think Kurt Russell is probably going to go down in history as playing the best Wyatt Earp ever played because it shows the human side of him.
In the westerns that I've seen in the past, Wyatt Earp, he was basically just a lawman, a real straight line lawman. Didn't really ever explore the realities of the other sides of his character, a very dark side. A man who was not above cheating in the card game, not above cheating on his wife.
He is a human being. He has flaws. He has faults. He doesn't come in and say Wyatt Earp hero. He's Wyatt Earp human being.
To me, he's an interesting guy because he's 360 degrees. He did good things, bad things, and all the things in between.
It's not like suddenly the Earps have come here to tame this town. They come here to get rich, just like we do. And every other boomer comes to a boom town. You come to do business and to make money.
We're off and running. Just acquired a supporter interest in the game at the Oriental.
Acquired, so to speak.
If we're successful at what we're trying to do in demythifying these people, we will have achieved something that hasn't been done before in dealing with Doc Holliday and Wyatt Earp. And that's a real interesting relationship. I mean, that's a bizarre relationship.
Doc had helped him find a man he was looking for in Texas as a marshal, and they became friends from that. Odd pair, though, because Wyatt Earp was a straight lawman and Doc was being a gambler was a fine profession, and you could stand for your honor by killing someone if they called you a cheater, which people did to Doc, and he killed them.
Like a badass.
Fuck yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all these dudes are so dope.
Yeah.
And I think...
I mean, they really got everything right. I feel total package. The way that they dressed, the way that the characters portrayed themselves, the casting, the music, like everything together, right? It's a culmination of all these things that really make it. And I think they just succeeded in all of them. They really did. I mean, the story was awesome. The people vibed out right. I mean, like everything had a great feeling to it. It was already an epic story because it's a historical story. You know what I mean? Any story that you try to base off something that really happened is a kind of a no-brainer. As long as you live up to the actual characters, or you know what I mean? Like it should be easy, and they really did a great job with it. You know, like we were saying, comparing the two between the Kevin Costner Wyatt Earp and this Tombstone, I feel like this one was the better one because of dramatic story and the way that you get to like feel for the characters. It's not like the other one is more like a biography almost, you know what I mean? It's one dimensional. It's about Wyatt Earp, you know. It's like you follow his story, and really that wasn't what it was about. All these situations everybody had a side to their story, and this kind of like helped show all that, you know. It showed like some of the battles and some of the things that they had to go through, which I think really was a treat for all of us to watch it, because look at the lasting impact it's had on us. You know what I mean? Like we're still talking about it, and this is from '93. So, I mean, this is a long time.
Yep. So
20 years ago.
So if you haven't seen it, I think that you should go watch it. And if you haven't seen it in a long time, it's time to get back into it, because it's a classic, and you know you'll love that shit. I'm about to go watch it right now.
Yeah, go make you a Tombstone pizza.
Mm-hmm.
Sit down and put on the Tombstone movie.
Yep. You got one more? Is there one more?
No.
Oh, man.
I think that's it.
You had like an upward thing at the end.
I know, I was going for it, but
I couldn't think of one either, so we're both equally creative.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us, everybody. Give us a call sometime.
Yeah, peace, bitches.
The Natural Habitat Podcast.